Listen to this. It's too old. Why would Villa Vie Residences buy a 30-year-old ship? And why would you live on it? That thing belongs in a museum. These are some of the things that some of you have told us about living on the Villa Vie Odyssey.
Is the Villa Vie Odyssey cruise ship too old? Well, we stepped back and we really tried to take an open mind and a balanced approach to look at it. And what we found may surprise you, and it could even change the way you look at the Villa Vie Odyssey.
It's probably the #1 criticism levied against Villa Vie. It's frequently in our comments and it's all over the cruise blogs. The Odyssey was built way back in 1993. That's ancient history, right?
Yeah, I was 30 years old in 1993, so that's a very, very fair question. So in an industry that churns out billion-dollar mega ships every year, why in the world would a new company like Villa Vie buy an old ship like the Odyssey? Let's get into it.
When we decided to buy a cabin on a cruise ship and live on a cruise ship and travel the world, we knew it was a very huge leap. And we continued to document our travels, the good, the bad, and the unexpected, and share it with everyone out there.
And the response has really been incredible. So many people are interested in this lifestyle and in this notion of continuous travel. But there are a few professional critics out there that we hear from that are very skeptical, and we hear from them all the time.
No matter what the topic of one of our latest videos is, the professional critics always bring it back to one thing: the age of the ship. It's the #1 criticism they use to predict gloom and doom for the entire project.
So today we're going to take that criticism head on. We're going to look at the data, we're going to look at the business model, and we're going to look at the trade-offs for living on a veteran, older ship like we do. Don't worry though, we're not going to let it get too dry. We're going to really keep it interesting for you.
Before we dive into the why of this specific ship, let's put that number, 31 years old, which is the age of the Odyssey when it was first purchased, into the broader industry context. Because old for a mass market ship may not be quite the same thing as old for a ship in a highly specialized market like the Odyssey.
That's absolutely right. So the average age for the entire global cruise ship fleet is 17 to 18 years, everything worldwide. But that number is heavily skewed by companies like Royal Caribbean and Carnival, who put out new ships all the time. In fact, their entire business model really depends on putting out new ships that have the biggest and the brightest attractions.
But when you look at niche and expedition markets, the story completely changes. You have to be smart and classify ships based upon their target market. Take a line like Hurtigruten, famous for its adventurous Norwegian coastal voyages. The average age of their fleet is 33 years old. They have a fleet of classic ships that have been navigating the rugged fjords of Norway for decades. In that market, which values access and durability over things like water slides, a ship like the Odyssey is far from an outlier.
Or even take a look at high-end expedition lines like Lindblad. They skew older as well, and they are a highly respected and luxury expedition line that even has an affiliation with National Geographic.
As you can see, the Odyssey fits right in with other niche expedition type ships. The decision to retire a ship is usually always economic, meaning it's due to market pressures. It's seldom due to technical issues, meaning it's just unfit to sail.
Yeah, that's right. Ships are usually retired because they either can't keep making money in their market or they don't meet new regulations. Neither of those is the case here, but we're going to look at both of those closely.
Okay, so we've established that the Odyssey's age isn't unusual for its market type. So where is the disconnect? Well, the disconnect comes from so many people trying to apply mass market logic to a niche market ship.
Yeah. And to be fair, the controversy was certainly fueled by the fact that, the Odyssey had been laid up for 4 years before the Villa Vie company bought it. And as they were retrofitting it, they ran into delays from mechanical issues. So when that happens, you're certainly going to raise a few eyebrows.
People saw the headlines about the rudder issues and immediately thought the worst. But what it really was the predictable challenge of trying to wake up such a complex machine after a very long nap. It was a maintenance issue that could be addressed with a little time and could be resolved, but it wasn't a fundamental flaw in the entire vessel.
So the real conflict here is not about the age of the ship or the ship's birthday, but it really gets down to two fundamental questions. And the first one is, can a startup small company like Villa Vie manage a project of this magnitude? That was really the issue that they bumped into with the rudder stocks. The issue took time and took some money that were not in the project plan. So that definitely led to a series of missed dates, missed expectations, and communications that kind of went back and forth for a while. And that exacerbated the issue, and it really caused people to start wondering what was going on. The second question is, does it make sense for a company like Villa Vie to buy an old ship when the rest of the world are buying and building new ships?
All of the criticism focuses on the ship's age as its greatest liability. You hear that, and then you hear about the refit, then you draw a straight line to bad investment. But what if we were to tell you that the ship's age and the price tag that goes with it is actually the single greatest strategic advantage that the company and the ship has?
This is where you have to look past the bright, shiny new ships and bright, shiny objects and look at the business case, because it is brilliant. This lifestyle is actually accessible to more people because of the ship's age. It's actually its superpower.
Let's break down why this liability is actually its core feature. It all comes down to 3 key points. A new ship of a comparable size would cost about $394 million. Villa Vie acquired the Odyssey for about $13 million and put another $12 million into the refit. That's like a 90 to 95% discount on the sticker price.
That staggering difference in price is what really enables this lifestyle to so many. On this ship, you can buy a cabin starting at under $150,000 with reasonable monthly fees. Contrast that to the World, which starts at $2 million and goes up, and even Crescent Seas, which starts at $750,000. And both of those have significantly higher monthly fees that are really high. Now, those are premium products compared to Villa Vie Odyssey, but the fact of the matter is that the Villa Vie Odyssey business case and model really allows accessibility to so many people just because of the older ship.
Here's a technical part that matters. Some people worry about the safety of old ships because there were a number of old ships built in the 60s and 70s that were all kind of scrapped at the same time. But that's because those particular ships had been built with flammable materials. Our ship, built in 1993, was built after the SOLAS safety rules went into effect. So our particular ship is part of a more modern safety category than these older ships. So the choice to buy this particular ship wasn't a compromise. It was a fundamental decision to create an entirely new and accessible market.
Exactly. This was a strategy. On Villa Vie, you're not buying a ticket on a floating Las Vegas. One of the things we like to say about Villa Vie is, unlike the mass cruise lines where the ship is the destination, on Villa Vie and the Odyssey, the destinations, the places you're going, they're the destinations.
We traded the bells and whistles of some of these newer, fancier ships, some of which we used to sail on, for something with a bit more older, proven character. But more importantly, one that has a price tag that makes this lifestyle even at all possible.
Yeah, that's true. We could not replicate what we're doing other ways. This is allowing us to go to 400 ports over the next 3 years or so in a way that really works for us, and in a way that we couldn't even do if we strung together world cruises or anything else. So this is unique. Sure, it's an older ship, and sure, there are a lot of things out there that are nicer and much more expensive in some cases. But this opportunity to do what we're doing and live this unique lifestyle is something that we absolutely love, and we would trade any time to do.
But what is the responsibility of Villa Vie Residences, the company, for the residents of an older ship like this?
We'll answer that in a minute, but before we do that, guess where we are? We're in one of our dream destinations, Alaska. Now that's not bad for an old ship, right? Take a look.
We're in Ketchikan, Alaska, a charming city on the coast and a major cruise port. It's known as the salmon capital of the world and also as the rain capital of Alaska. But fortunately, there's no rain in the forecast today, and the temperature's perfect, so we're gonna take a walk. They call this the first city, and it's our first taste of the wild Alaskan beauty we've been hoping to see. Right at the cruise terminal, the waterfront is a hub of colorful shops. But as captivating as the shops are, we are drawn to a place with a very unique story. A short walk from the docks and you find yourself at Creek Street. We brought out our trusty Insta360-degree camera to capture all the great shots from every angle. This isn't your typical main street. The entire street is a boardwalk built on pilings directly over Ketchikan Creek. In its heyday, this was the town's infamous red light district. The story goes that during Prohibition, bootleggers would row their boats right up under the houses at high tide to make their deliveries through trapdoors in the floor. There's a real sense of walking through history. Imagine a time when this lively creek was where, as the saying goes, both fishermen and fish came upstream to spawn. And the nature here is just breathtaking, perched high above us as if watching over the town was a bald eagle. Our walk continued up the creek, leading us to the salmon ladder. We weren't the only ones watching the water. We spotted a local resident, rod in hand, trying his luck.
So after trying to get to Alaska for all these years, we have made it to Ketchikan, and it's really kind of a neat experience. You can see that's our ship over there. We had a prime spot here. We literally walked off the ship and saw the famous Ketchikan sign. We had a lot of fun. It's a little touristy for sure, but today we actually got to see the salmon ladder where the salmon all go and run upstream and that kind of thing when they're spawning. We also saw a bald eagle that was just amazing. It was so neat to be that close to the eagle. So overall, we've really enjoyed our time here today. We were originally, many years ago, supposed to come to Alaska on that big Holland America ship over there because Holland America does Alaska really well. But we instead, as you know, came on that one back there, and we're really glad we did. If you compare the size, there's just no comparison. Holland America does supposed to do Alaska really well, but we're really loving doing Alaska from home, which is pretty cool.
The strategy makes sense and the payoff is real, but none of this works if the ship doesn't get the care that it needs to make it to the 15-year guarantee. This isn't a buy it and then forget it kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely not. Keeping a ship like the Odyssey, a veteran ship, in tip-top shape requires constant maintenance. And in addition, ships have to go into dry dock every few years. And for older ships, they require more and more maintenance to keep up to standard and to recertify things, that kind of thing. So it's like this continuous preventive maintenance program that keeps everything moving and going well.
And it's also not just about maintaining what's already there. It's also about future future proofing because the maritime industry is under a lot of pressure to get greener. So as time goes by over the next few decades, Villa Vie and probably other cruise lines will be under pressure to probably invest in systems to keep up with this green technology, especially if they want to be welcomed in some of the ports that are real sticklers about being green.
And really, that's the challenge for any startup. It comes down to money and management because both are critical. You've got to have a plan, and that plan's got to incorporate money and the ability to handle things that come along that you know you've got to do, like planned repairs and ongoing things, but also the unexpected things that inevitably happen to anybody and any business, especially probably an older ship, like the Belfast rudder stocks. So it comes down to Villa Vie really having a plan that incorporates money and management, contingency plans, and making sure that they take care of things because it's not the ship's age that matters. It's the ability to deal with that ship's age and keep it in tip-top shape. That's also really important for the company's reputation as they take on those things. So very important and something that Villa Vie must, and I'm sure will, focus on.
So why did Villa Vie Residences buy a 30-year-old ship? Is the Odyssey too old?
No, it's actually the strategy for what enables this lifestyle for so many, including us. If the ship didn't have the age it did and couldn't be purchased and retrofitted for the pricing, it wouldn't allow folks like us and many others to have a lifestyle here. So the age of the ship is actually what allows us to be here, and a really smart strategy.
So that's the story. Now that you know the strategy, what do you think of the decision? Let us know in the comments.
And if you like this video and this little peek behind the wall here, we'd sure appreciate you giving it a like, and we'd love to have you subscribe. Until then, we'll see you at the next port, and we'll see you soon. Bye.